Welcome back to the VSD channel. Yesterday I published my Oppo Find X8 Ultra versus Xiaomi 15 Ultra versus S25 Ultra comparison, guys, and then I realized, thanks to your comments, that some of the night photos specifically shot by the Xiaomi on 3x and 4.1x cameras were actually shot by the main sensor, and this is on purpose due to the fact that I did not disable the auto lens switching. That is actually an option inside the Xiaomi 15 Ultra that decides to automatically switch the lenses measured by distance and brightness, which means that if it's dark enough and you want to do 3x, then the phone can decide to use the main camera, the main wide camera, which makes sense because that's using the one in sensor. It's a big sensor with a brighter aperture, but then the comparison wasn't all in line. But the fact is, I can't turn this off on the Oppo Find X8 Ultra stock setting, or so I thought. So in this video, guys, I will do a rematch. I'm also shooting 4K 30 FPS video, and yesterday I used the all 2 FPS feature. Today I have disabled this, so hopefully this is gonna be really the best we can get from stock. All right, guys, 4K 30 FPS, and I'm gonna go in a very dark area. The main sake of this comparison is going to be anyway the photos, guys, but nevertheless I just want to show you what happens when I go in an area where light is almost absent. Okay, light, no light, and the further I go here, which is probably not a good idea at night. Yeah, not that it's unsafe, but I can't really see anything. All right, this is what happens. But nevertheless, I wanted to do so. So now I'm gonna turn back and I'm gonna go and switch 3x on the Oppo and 3x on the Xiaomi 15 Ultra. And I'm gonna go and use 6x on the Oppo, all right. And I'm gonna use 4.3. And at this point of time, I'm even not sure if the Oppo is using the dedicated 6x camera or still the main sensor. Right, back to one ultra wide, and guys, now I wanted to start running, but it's probably not so safe. Probably can't do this. All right, running with the ultra wide. Now back to one, and I'm gonna start running with one. Okay, so this is what we was concerned. One more zoom length cycle test. Okay, 3x, 6x here. Okay, 3x and 4.3, guys, and of course I can dial it up to something like 6x on the Xiaomi as well. But guys, let's forget about the video. Let's now do the photo samples in night. Hopefully this time it's gonna be all from them zoom cameras. All right, now let's start with the photos, guys. This is 3x shot on the Oppo Find X8 Ultra. How do we know, guys? 70mm and the aperture is 2.1, which is the 3x camera from the Oppo, and 70mm 3x from the Xiaomi 15 Ultra using a different sensor with a brighter aperture of f1.8. all right, guys, now let's start to zoom in. I have to be very honest with you, and you're gonna also hear it in the outro. When you're using fixed zoom lenses like 3x and 3x or 6x and 4.3 during night, it's extremely hard to get the focus sometimes. You have to repeatedly try again and again, and this is even not a very dark shot, guys. So in this particular shot, I would say, I wasn't able to focus it on the Xiaomi. I'll put the blame on me, else the Oppo here clearly was able to focus, but you're gonna also later see that Oppo is still struggling. So when you engage with the 6x, it will go back to the 3x camera with a 2.1 aperture and do a crop from it, which is annoying. And the only way to remediate this is to go and use the master mode on the Oppo. On the Xiaomi, luckily there is the option to switch the adaptive telephoto camera. Now this is a shot from the 6x cameras, guys. How do we know this? The aperture is 3.1 here on the Oppo, and again a brighter aperture on the Xiaomi, but the Xiaomi here is using 4.3, which I do believe is actually 4.0 or 4.1, because this is the moment where the zoom lens switch happens physically. Nevertheless, guys, this is here ISOCELL HP9 from Samsung. All right, you can see it's a 100mm 4.3, 135mm here with the Sony LIT, I do believe 600. Okay, let's try to zoom in, and yeah, Guys, it isn't that bad on both, I think, and also somehow comparable. All right, I try to find the same spot. If we do a crop from almost like 150%, honestly, guys, it's pretty comparable, right? So the 3x and 6x from the Oppo Find X8 Ultra aren't that bad when using them, you know, with the main focal lengths, but I guess beyond 10x is gonna be different, but in night this is almost impossible. All right, let's check the next samples. Back to the 3x camera. How do we know? The aperture on the Oppo is 2.1, on the Xiaomi is 1.8, 70mm on all of them. Again, guys, see, and I really try to focus, but the thing is, it's really damn hard in conditions like this. And sadly, again, here I wasn't able to do the focus, and again, I will put the blame on me, but this is also the reason why these phones have this software, and they will decide based on distance and brightness to either do a crop, you know, from the main sensor, or if you're shooting with a 4.3 to do another crop, like from the 3x camera. The Oppo does this quite often when you are shooting in dark conditions from the 6x camera. It will do a crop from 3x. Yeah, I can see it's a bad shot from both. Now a 6 shot from the Oppo with an aperture of 3.1 and a 4.3 shot from the Xiaomi with an aperture of 2.6, and then again this time the Oppo wasn't able to focus, and I will take the blame. I really tried, guys, but it's just damn hard to focus with damn lenses with a long focal length in these dark conditions. So you can see here no focus at all. The HP9 did better. So in this round I would say, yeah, the Xiaomi did really better. Back to the 3x camera, 3x on all phones, and believe it or not, I really tried like 10 times to just make the Oppo to really use the 3x camera and not a crop. Anyway, guys, what should I say here? If I start to zoom in, yeah, they are all, I think, equally bad. I can see maybe even Oppo did a bit better here. I really try to focus and stuff like that. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Yeah, maybe Xiaomi did better here, but overall, I think both photos aren't great. And this is the 6x shot again. It took me really multiple attempts to even be able to do this. 3.1 aperture, 6x on the Oppo, 2.6, 4.3 on the Xiaomi, guys. And this is really interesting because you can see that the 6x from the Oppo, although having a narrow, smaller aperture, 3.1 versus a brighter one, 2.6 on the Xiaomi, isn't that bad at all, right? I think it's pretty comparable and probably even a tiny bit better here on the Oppo. Yeah, actually, yeah, it is better, guys. See, I mean, this shot here definitely better on the Oppo Find X8 Ultra. Back to the 3x domain, 2.1 aperture on the Oppo, 1.8 on the Xiaomi. All right, guys, this is good. I guess this is really good on all phones. But what happens here, guys? When we start to pixel peep, there are some tiny details that somehow Xiaomi smudged here. All right. Here, when we have enough light, though, the Xiaomi did a bit better. But here and here, yeah, this is worse compared to what we see on the Oppo. Let's check here. Yeah, so again, I'll just prefer this shot from the Oppo. Let me know what you think down below. And this is a 6x shot from the Oppo, aperture of 3.1 and a 4.3x with an aperture of 2.6 on the Xiaomi. Believe it or not, this was very hard to do on the Oppo because it will constantly just do a crop from the 3x camera and drive me crazy. But nevertheless, guys, what happens here, guys? Okay, I think that this is a bit more equalized. So let's check here. Yeah, this one I guess is like almost like a draw for me. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Back to the 3x shot from the Oppo and the Xiaomi. And again, guys, here I had a problem to just do the proper focus, guys, and I tried several times, and this is what I at the end got from the Xiaomi, and a very good image from the Oppo, but I struggled to get the same with 6x from the Oppo, and at the end I just had to use master mode. Let me show you. This is the 4.3 shot from the Xiaomi 15 Ultra using the 2.6 aperture, and this one is very good. At the end I was also able to do a 6x with the Oppo, really without the master mode, and this is the result. And you can see, yeah, it's comparable, and this one in the middle is shot with the master mode, guys. But if we have to compare these two, I would say that they are very comparable. Let's just look one by one. This is the 6x shot directly versus the 4.3 shot from the Xiaomi, guys. And honestly, yeah, I think they're about the same. But what happens here, guys, right? You can still see these details here and the line. So most probably the shot from the Oppo just a tiny bit better on the left. So let me know what you think down below in the comments. Another 6x shot from the Oppo Find X8 Ultra, almost impossible to just get it with the regular camera, so I had to do it with the master camera, which means no AI, no processing, absolutely like almost really without processing. And this is the 4.3 from the Xiaomi, and you can see it's not so great, but again, I guess this is still a very processed image. Take a look at this again, a 3x shot on all phones, the aperture on the Oppo 2.1, the aperture on the Xiaomi 1.8, and again I was really having issues, guys, to focus. Some people said that I didn't try. Believe me, I really tried. It's almost impossible sometimes, right? And this shot here from the Oppo is just so good. Of course, it has these artifacts and yeah, also some noise. But the thing is, when you're able to focus, you're gonna get great results. And another fantastic sample, 3x on both phones using 2.1 aperture on the Oppo and 1.8, a brighter one on the Xiaomi, guys. And I had to redo this shot several times because there was some wind and this thing was kind of like moving. What can I tell you, guys? Like, the Oppo really did it here, right? And yeah, really, see, you can just see the details, right? So Xiaomi in this case also very close, but I guess the Oppo with the 3x versus the Xiaomi 3x just a tiny bit better, and the Xiaomi 3x has a brighter aperture, so I'm not even sure how this is possible and why this happens. But okay, this is stock camera, right? No master mode, I guess still some processing there. Yeah, this shot from the Oppo I think is just a tiny bit better. And now we're using the second telephoto camera from the Xiaomi, the 4.3x with an aperture of 2.6. And see here, guys, I was trying to shoot 6x here, and it is really, you can see it's 135mm, but of course the phone decided to do a crop from the 3x camera with an aperture of 2.1, so I had to go back and use the master mode. And now finally with the master mode I was able to properly use the 6x camera with a 3.1 aperture, guys. Yeah, what can I tell you, right? I mean, in the master mode we don't have this artificial processing. You can see, like, yeah, not bad at all. Honestly, master mode is probably one of the best camera modes, the stock one, because just get rid of all the processing, get rid of all the AI, and specifically when you're using raw images, guys, you'll have a lot of benefits in just manipulating highlights, shadows, exposure, and whatnot. The white balance, you know how it goes. Not a bad shot also from the Xiaomi, right? But I just wanted to illustrate how hard it is on the Oppo to use the 3x or the 6x camera in low light conditions. Now back to a 3x shot, 2.1 aperture on the Oppo, 1.8 on the Xiaomi, guys. Honestly, a lovely shot from both phones, and I kind of prefer the sky here on the Xiaomi photo. This looks a bit too weird for my taste on the Oppo, but it's gonna be interesting to check what happens with the 6x. And yeah, believe it or not, yeah, I wasn't able to do it, so I had to use the master mode on the Oppo. And yes, this is what I'm talking about. This is the 4.3 photo from the Xiaomi 15 Ultra using the second telephoto camera, the 4.3. And guys, you can see every time I try to do 6x on the Oppo, I ended up using a crop from the 3x camera, so the only option was really to use the master mode. And you can see really, like, the processing is totally different, and nevertheless not a bad shot. Like, when there is enough light, guys, you don't really need a lot of processing, and you can see like, yeah, this picture really so good, even compared to the crop that Oppo decided to do from the 3x camera to just give me a processed 6.1, and this is what we get from the Xiaomi, guys. So guys, I really hope that you're gonna enjoy this test. Now have in mind, it's very difficult to shoot 6x on the Oppo without the Oppo to just go back and use the 3x telephoto camera. Just almost impossible. You have to just try so many times. The easiest way is to use the master mode, but then there is no processing almost. It's no AI, no HDR. On the Xiaomi, you can turn this option off, and then you can only have 3x every time, and then also 4.3, but then it's hard to focus, guys. So the thing is, when you're using this auto mode, the phone software will decide based on the distance and the brightness what camera to use. It's a very sophisticated system, guys. We have 4 cameras: ultra wide, main wide, 3x, 4.3, and in the Oppo Find X8 Ultra we have ultra wide main camera, 3x and 6x. So the phone will think instead of you and decide, hey, you know, it's too dark, it's too far away, let's just go and use that big Sony A8900 sensor with the brighter aperture and try to do the shot. So you have to either think like, I want to disconnect myself from that process and just go and use 1x, 2x, 3x, whatever x you want, like focal length, MMs, or you just want to go crazy and particularly aim with the 3x or the 6x or 4.3x. But my experience so far with this testing is that on the Oppo, it's almost impossible without the master mode, where you can of course go and just use straight 3x or 6x or ultra wide or main. On the 9 mode, sometimes it's a trial and error. The moment you go from 3x to 6x, the shot is gonna drop the whole exposure, but then the software will think, hey, it's too dark. It's gonna go back and do a crop from the 3x, even if you're on 6x, guys. This is the stock software processing from the camera, all right? So we have plenty of options. You're not limited to stock camera. You can use Google Camera, you can use Motion, you can use MC24 for video and stuff like this. So it's really your decision. But if you want to just get consistent results and take the phone directly out of your pocket and make the shot, right? It's gonna be better on auto. Now again, on the Xiaomi, yeah, I can just turn this option off. On the Oppo, not so much, right? So you have to be either very quick or lucky, or just sometimes I had to try like 10 times to just make sure that the 6x comes from the 6x. And you can very easily check this from the watermark and by checking the aperture value, because all the cameras, they have different aperture values. 2.1 for the 3x and 3.4 I believe for the 6x. And this is also why I decided to leave this information inside the comparison. I really hope that you have enjoyed. So the main takeaway is, if you want to get a decent shot in dark, better be in auto if you know what you're doing. And yeah, you can wait, of course, try to go either use master mode on the Oppo or just disable that tele auto whatever function this is and the Xiaomi 15 Ultra. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay safe, and very soon Vivo X200 Ultra.